We are joined Miles, who's going to do us do a little painting tutorial for us. So do you want to introduce yourself for us, please, Miles?
You're right, Ricky. I'm Miles. Well, obviously you can't see me. I've always been a strong believer of anyone can paint anything. You just need to know the shortcuts and tricks. Well, I'm painting Space Marine, which a lot of people will recognise from the gaming community, and it's one of those things that is very quick and easy to paint. What I've done is so that everyone doesn't get to watch me just paint yellow, I've already pre-painted most of the model, but I've left some of it just so you can see how quick I'm going to do this, and hopefully we can get this done while we're chatting.
So whilst we chat, I'm going to try and get my horse-based, at least rudimentary, for this game that we're having later, like the intro game that we're doing later. So, but looking at that, yellow's notorious for amongst like new gamers and stuff for being awkward to paint. So, what would your tips be for yellow?
Okay, well, a couple of things. First, yellow, yeah, you're right, has a history of being just the worst, right up there with white. These the base paints that GW released, Games Workshop released quite a long time ago now, originally called Foundation. They're great. They cut a lot of the hassle off, and the problem is that it was too thin as a paint, so you'd easily see underlayers. And this stuff, honestly, I just slap it on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly take some from the pot, a tiny bit. Now, I've undercoated it white. The only reason I did that is because I thought it would actually show up better on camera. Normally, I like going with the dark colours, but let's see if you can see there. I'm just using an old dirty brush that I've got that has lost its points. Because at this point, I'm just going to be slapping the yellow straight on. But now the reason I'm painting this yellow is because I myself actually have an Imperial Fist army, and the only reason I have Imperial Fists is because someone once said to me, "Yellow is really hard to paint," and so I was like, "Okay, then that sounds fun." So I decided to do an entire army based on the fact that someone told me once it was a hard color to do, and that was quite a long time ago now.
I admit I found yellow really difficult to paint with. I painted my Boomdacker as well again. Just put coat after coat after coat to the point where it looked thick as well, but I could still see black coming through.
Yeah. So if you're using a layer paint, what you'll find is that they are really, really good for doing all your detail work and everything, but especially on black undercoat or dark undercoat, you're going to live to regret putting on like that. There's a few ways that people approach painting yellow that I've seen. Brown as base coat gives you a nice kind of thick tone to work with, and you work your layers up from there. That's very legitimate, very old school as well, because of course nobody wanted to paint yellow straight over the black. And then the technique I'm generally doing, which is you slap on a good solid tone of foundation paint, bring up that colour through different methods. Now, I'm a bit of a fan of my Imperial Fists having this kind of slightly egg yolk yellow look. It was kind of actually inspired by the look was originally meant to look like kind of anime, good solid colours with black lining. That was great, 10, 15 years ago when I first did it, and then I kind of changed my mind and painted them differently. But the principle's the same. I went more toward leaning.
All I was going to say, if people want to see like Miles's Imperial Fist stuff, it's great, and you could check out his painted page on Instagram because just for examples, and I got to say, Apothecary is outstanding. I know that's not yellow, but
he's got a bit of yellow on him. Well, thank you very much as well. I was very proud of that Apothecary. I kind of put a little bit of effort in, but I mean, I've always viewed myself as a reasonable painter. I'm not going to say that I'm up there with some of the guys out there who are truly fantastic painters, but I like quick belief that you can get an army done fairly quickly. So there we go. What I've done is I've just blocked in that yellow now. So while that quarter is drying, I'm going to show you how to give a depth to this. Now I'm going to use contrast paint, but I'm going to use it to shade. This is kind of like a little thing I've been messing around with, is rather than using them as a solid tone, using them as a bit of a shade paint. So I'm going to just take it straight from the pot because we're doing this quick. Let's see, can we see? So we're going to just go in round the lines of his armor. Don't need to be too neat, because one of the things I think a lot of people get hung up on is being super neat. And part of it is, yes, being super neat. But if you're, if you're painting, you can always just paint over the bits you weren't neat with. And so you can go back and neaten up afterwards. So what I always say, I'm teaching my son to paint at the moment, is the first layer, don't be neat. You don't need to be neat. You just slap it on, have fun with it, and then the next layer, just be a little bit neater. And then the next layer, a little bit neater again. And eventually you get a easily tabletop ready model in a very, very short space of time.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I lack the patience. I know that it's one of those things, and that you can neaten up afterwards. Oh my god, I lack the patience for that. But it's a good trick to know.
It is. The other things as well is, I don't think I said, but if you can have a look behind me, I've already got the paints that I was going to use ready. And one thing a lot of my friends say is, "Oh, I don't have time to paint." And if you've got, like a cheap plastic tray, or like one of those weird bamboo IKEA tray type things, other bamboo trays are available, I guess.
Oh, we're not the BBC. IKEA, come and give us your money and bamboo trays.
So what you can do is, if you've got the space for it, admittedly, have your stuff ready. Have your stuff sitting on the side, so that when you do come to paint, you're not using your paint time, digging through your paints going, oh, do I want this red or that red? Decide before you slap any paint on. And then when you come to it, you can, sit down, put, some music on or whatever, and you're not wasting valuable painting time looking for, that paint that you wanted, because it's already there. And, you get, some people go, oh, but I don't have the time. And it's like, well, the oven takes 10 minutes to warm up. If you're, going to stick some chips in or something, that's 10 minutes that, because all your stuff's already out, you could now use to just slap on, that base coat, or get a wash over a bit of the model. You don't have to do the whole thing in one sitting, but that 10 minutes, what you're doing, sitting looking on your phone, you could quickly.
So, like, I will say, that is something that I've started doing. I picked up an old paint station.
Oh, yeah.
Again, if I'm planning on getting all my colours ready, and then it's just a matter of grabbing that, filling a pot of water, and I'm good to go.
Exactly. That's the one thing you do need to make sure you've got, fresh, clean water. You don't want your stuff getting weird colour tones in there. that you weren't planning for. Because I've been there, man. I've been there.
Yeah, and then the other thing that you put me onto, because the first thing I painted was my Orc Blood Bowl team.
Yep.
And when, like you said, they're all right, but if you use a palette and thin your paints, that'll help a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Now, admittedly, I'm not thinning my paint right now, but that's kind of because I'm speed painting. And I'm also using it in very small quantities. But yes, thinning your paints. I've become a bit of a fan of using mediums instead of water. No real reason other than I think the paint, especially if you're really thinning the paint, like really thinning it down to like a glaze, I think it dries just that little bit better on certain surfaces. And so thinning your paints, honestly, lifesaver. Also, it means your paints last longer because you're not using as much.
Yeah, and like the other thing I did, well, I took your advice at the start of lockdown and got myself an old plate to use as a palette. But
Yeah.
I will say that since then, I did pick up a wet palette, and not because I'm mixing paints, because I'm colorblind, so I'll never get the same color twice.
So
But
yeah, you want it that when you get it that one time, you want it to stay in that.
Yeah, so but like the wet palette, I found that my paints were drying out a bit too quick on the plate, probably because the house was too warm. But
Yeah.
the wet palette just keeps things. I'm getting more out of my paint when I'm using that rather than the plate. Also, it's less washing up to do.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the wet palette, I think I'm very much behind the times. I've just kind of stuck with my plates, and I should definitely look into it, see if that also will cut down the wasting time and go straight into the painting time. So yeah, that's a good thing. The other thing, as we're saying about awesome random hobby purchases, is painting handles. My God, I love them. I if I could, I'd buy more, but I think I'd get in trouble. They have become my thing. I love them, especially if you're doing kind of work en masse. If you're painting a lot of models nicely. So if you're doing like commission work, or if you're just painting your way through an entire legion of something. I have in the past where you get that point where you're holding it by the base and your fingers start doing this weird thing.
Yeah, my fingers are doing it already. As you said, I was thinking should have brought my painting handle.
So it goes straight, doesn't it? It's one of those funny things. I did try. I've seen a lot of people use blue tack and an old paint pot and all that, and
And corks.
Yeah, I tried that, and I just couldn't get on with it. I kept knocking the model off. I don't know. Maybe I just paint a bit too heavy-handed. Yeah. For me, I think I need the reliability of springs. Right. So, just so we can see where we're getting, we kind of right.
So like I so like on our stream, when me and Simon are doing our I've said that before I was playing all of this, I'd look at the GW paint accessories or the expensive bits that like Citadel sell, like the clippers and all of that, and gone, that's just a con, obviously. And now, like, I did end up buying the Citadel clippers and stuff like that because they just do getting closer to the mold and stuff like that. And it was it is that thing of
Yeah.
yeah.
The
It
only
is that thing of, oh yeah, they're expensive, but they are really worth it.
the thing is, as long as you're using them, it doesn't really matter, does it? You know, if you're getting your money's worth. The best random kind of hobby purchase that I made, where very very long time ago in a galaxy very far away, I was walking past a hardware shop, and I had some waxwork tools, stainless steel waxworking tools like this, and it was a pack of like 8, something like that. It was like £2. I was like, oh my god, that's basically just all you need for sculpting, but a ridiculously cheap price. And honestly, I mean, we're talking, what now, 20 plus years later, I'm still using them. So definitely got my money's worth out of those ones, I can tell you. So just so you can see, Ricky, I've gone round, and you probably can't see with all this light. Let's see if I can just, there we go. So I've put some shade into all those recesses, and then I can go back and neaten up. Now, one of the other things as well is, because I do paint a slightly more pale dark yellow, if you want to punch it up, of course, nowadays you can just glaze everything really nicely. So you can put some more oomph into it. I'm going to leave that like that for the moment. Then I'm going to quickly move on to getting some of the, other parts of the model done. So what I'm going to do at this stage is I'm just going to go round and fill in with some blocky colours all the areas that I want to just have as a bit of more interesting colour and detail. So all Space Marines tend to have something humongous armoured chest plates detail. So I'm going to just try and actually point that at the camera this time. So we'll go around. I've got a bit of a hand wobble today as well. But as well, this is another thing I've actually heard a lot of people, they go, oh, my hands shake too much. It's like, no, there's tricks to that as well. So as you can see, I'm actually, this hand is on the table holding the model. This hand, because the table's not wobbling, and this hand is resting on that hand. And so I've got a bit more of a stable platform to rest on, and suddenly that hand wobble pretty much eliminated. So another thing as well is, I was going to say another thing is as well, people forget that you can turn your model 360 degrees and hold it at weird angles if it helps getting in the areas.
Yeah. As I'm trying to get into an orc's foot.
Turn him upside down, man. You can get in through a funny angle. Yeah.
So, for people who are new to the hobby and stuff, don't forget that if you go to a games, what they call it now, Warhammer rather than Games Workshop, and
yeah, they're Warhammers now. It's going to take me a while to get that right.
So if you go to a Warhammer, they often have like a free model so that you can have a go at painting anyway. So you'd have to buy the paints, but you get a free model to give it a go. So it's worth checking those out if you've got the chance.
Yeah, I used to work for GW, and yeah, it's a great way of just kind of having a go and seeing, kind of like if you like stuff. And also, Games Workshop doing the free monthly model at the moment, and so I painted up my one, the world's longest spear. This spear goes on and on. It's like a joke out of a Mel Brooks film. It just keeps on going. Look, So
when you told me about it the other day, I honestly didn't realize it was that long.
So if a Space Marine, this is a Primaris Space Marine, so he should be about 9 foot tall. So that is
20-foot pole.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Well,
I wouldn't touch him with a 20-foot pole.
But it's wonderful. I love it. It's great. And also, that guy is the guy you want when you're dungeoneering in a role play, because 10-foot pole, he brought twice as much. So I blocked in the red. What I'm going to quickly now do is grab some grey. And so the areas I'm going to use this grey on. Right, now I don't have clean water now, so this is so I'm going to use some medium. Now gone very red. Clean water, everybody. Right, I'm just going to go in and block out those. So at the moment it looks very, very rudimentary, this model, and to be fair, it is. But once you've got your washes in as well, washes, glazes, anything that you can just use, any technique you like to use to punch up the depth on your model. And then what I would do is be going in with my original color, which was the Avalon Sunset. And I'll generally probably save that till about the last third of painting the model and go in and do another neatening up. And like as I said earlier, each layer you just paint that a little bit neater. So and part of that as well is for people who are starting out, it's surprising. Some people don't know how to hold a brush. And I guess that's, if you think like kids, they tend to hold brushes in the same way they would hold a crayon, ready to stab the piece of paper. So the best thing I can describe when holding a brush is treat it like a pencil with a fine point. So the natural movement of your finger is this. So if you just paint like that, you always get nice, neat movement. And that's one thing I think sometimes when people are showing other people how to paint is they forget that some people don't actually, they may not have ever held a fine brush before. So
as I'm stabbing brown onto a base.
Yeah, you stab that base. That'll teach it. I mean, sometimes you don't need to do all this nice, fancy, neat movements, but okay. So what I've done is I've gone around, picked up the areas that look like the rubberized seal with a light grey, and the only reason I'm doing that is because long-term plan I'm going to be putting a dark wash on there, and so I want the recesses to be dark, but I want the raised areas to be mildly lighter. So right, just have a quick look. No, missed a bit.
We've got a question from the stream for you.
Oh, okay, go for it.
What any tips for Sons of Sigismund? Bear with me again. The thing. Any conversion tips for the Sons of Sigismund looking to do a Primaris Emperor's Children? Thank you.
Primaris Emperor's Children. Well, awesome. And just from like the painting perspective, what I would probably say is you've got no holds bars when it comes to Emperor's Children. They're all about kind of extreme sensory overload. So traditional Emperor's Children color is kind of pink tone and then kind of garish things. I would probably go with painting a bright pink tone. Probably maybe start, if you can, with a foundation layer, because pink is the kind of cousin of yellow and white. It's a horror show to try and get on. In fact, the color I was using, so the two I've been using, in fact, here's something I prepared earlier. So this is a bust that I've been working on. I tend to do about one a year as a bit of a treat to myself. So it's like Neo Samurai. So you see this purple here that she's got as her t-shirt. That is basically this Xerxes purple and Emperor's Children paints. And they're just mixed together to get the middle tone, the base layer that I wanted. And then I've added small amounts of this to bring up the highlights for the raised areas on the sleeves, so where the light would catch. And then I've watered this down significantly with Lahmian medium, and that's going in the shadow areas. So what I've done is basically used only these 3 paints to create this kind of soft purple. But of course, Emperor's Children, you might want to go a bit more oomph. So a bit more of that, a little less of that. So that's probably how I'd approach it. The other thing you can do, of course, he says, realizing how dusty it is because Emperor's Children just love the crazy colors. This, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I think it's on my Instagram, but that's my Emperor's Children Noise Marine. So he's got leopard print, he's got zebra stripes, he's got bonkers colors. There's some blue in there as well. There's no wrong way to paint a model, any model, regardless of it being Chaos or a Space Marine or anything. You paint it how you want to paint it. So if you want an Emperor's Children Primaris, go nuts. No hold bar. I've seen some very peculiar Emperor's Children in the past, and you know what? Every single one of them works.
I got to admit that if they come out with the Emperor's Children as a full faction, I will be getting Emperor's Children myself. That I think that's what I've been eyeing up, chaos wise. I think an Emperor's Children, Helldrake will look amazing.
I've got to admit, I'm genuinely surprised they haven't rocked up. I don't know what Games Workshop's release schedule plans are, or how they even go about it. I suspect that when we do see Emperor's Children, we'll see a Fulgrim riding in all his snaky winged glory.
That's kind of why I want to do it.
Well, you've already got Mortarion, don't you?
Yeah, I got Mortarion, and I've got the really old Abaddon as well.
Oh yeah, I've got him somewhere sitting around.
I've got the really old Lucius the Eternal as well, but like that model's showing its age now.
I think the one I'd like to see done, even though I agree, Emperor's Children would be fantabulous. But I'd like to see Khorne Berserkers updated.
Our friend Chris is currently starting a Khorne army, so I think he would agree with you on that.
90. I want to say 97. I'm sure someone will be able to correct me on that. But I'm pretty sure the 96, 97 was when the Khorne Berserker box set was released. So it'd be really awesome to see. Look at the Age of Sigmar stuff. I was reading a pretty good article online about the innovation of models in Age of Sigmar. Whether you like Age of Sigmar or not, it's irrelevant on that. But the innovation of design for Age of Sigmar models is just amazing. I mean, look at things like the giant spears, the Realm Lords, or the look at just the Chaos models. They're so crazy cool. To see what they could take from what they've learned with Age of Sigmar and move it across into 40k. Wow, that would be something awesome for Chaos, because Chaos are just nuts, and can't go wrong with that. I've actually started an Age of Sigmar Nurgle army as well. Right, that's my Nurgle general there, and there's a few more sitting at the back here as well, waiting to be done. So while we're just chatting there, Ricky, as well, I just slapped over the leftover, using the old brush, slapped on the leftover grey onto the base, so that when I come to do the wash on the rubberized areas of his armor, I can just do that over there. So we're most of the way there. So what I'm going to do is a couple more colors, and then hopefully a lot of our stuff should be dry enough that we can look at putting some washes and glazes on. How are we doing for time?
We're at 1:45, so you're already over what time you were supposed to.
I'm a monster.
That you said you could do. But we've got 15 minutes if you want to carry on. It was your time that we were.
Yeah, I tell you what.
You said you'd go somewhere.
Yeah, I know. I know. I've made a few promises. It's a busy day today, but you know what? I'm in the zone now. So right, what I'm going to do is it's. We're also actually surprisingly close to having what you could probably deem a painted model. So and if I don't get it finished in time, well, I'll do a little bit of work on it over the weekend, and then you know, if anybody who's watching, if you want to give it away to someone, then I'll make sure I get it over to you, and someone can have a very, very quickly painted Space Marine.
Okay. Well, that being said, we've got we're giving prizes away for every £100 we raise. So we already got 2 prizes to give away. We've already hit 200. So if you want to come up with a question, and whoever answers first in the chat, Simon and Adam can then tell us, and they will be the winner. So if you want to come up with a question.
What are we talking? Hobby question, or are we talking gaming question? Or...
I don't know. We're painting Space Marines. We're giving away a Space Marine, so it makes sense for it to be. Let's. Adam said it should be about orcs, but yeah, let's make it about 40k or and the hobby, I guess. So either painting or.
Right. Or easy or hard, Ricky?
Go easy on them.
Go easy
because it is a beginner's stream.
That's true. That's true. Okay. So, well, I'll tell you what. Nice, easy one. And because of what I'm painting, let's go with who was the Primarch of the Imperial Fists?
Oh, I know that. Can I answer?
No. No, you can't. There we go. So we'll go with who was the Primarch of the Imperial Fists.
So the first person who answers that in the chat will win the model that Miles is painting. And
his shoe size. Yeah. What was his shoe size as well? Right.
Moo E2. Moo E2 is our winner. So obviously the answer is Horus Lupercal. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I'm joking.
You know what? I almost had an embolism just then.
So yeah, obviously it's Rogal Dawn. So and Moe too. If you message us via either Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, or Simon's put an email in the chat, and we can hopefully get that out to you then.
Excellent. Okay, I'm not. Yeah, I'll work on it over the weekend, neaten this up, and so even if I don't get it finished on the stream, and so it won't be quite as patchy as it is right now. It will be much nicer. But yay, free Space Marine.
And yeah, like I said, if you want to see the stuff that Miles is painting, you can always check out his Instagram, which is MTH Painting.
Yeah, is it? I can't remember if there's an underscore in it or not. But yeah, MTH Painting. It's really just kind of my stuff that I like slapping the paint on. But they generally obey the same rules as I'm applying to this, and just with a little more time.
And so you can check out my Gazgul. Because that's on there.
Did I put your Gazgul on there? Oh, sweet. Yeah. Well, I couldn't even remember if I put your Gazgul on there.
Yeah, because I've used your site, your thing to show off my gas skull to someone before, because it's like better picture than I can take, because your nice light boxes and stuff.
Well, so this is something actually I would say to people as well is if you want to show off your models, you know, once you've put your effort in and you know you're happy with it, please don't just point your camera at it and take a photo. You know what? If you've put 2 or 3 hours, or in my case 45 minutes into a model, take a nice photo. And I just use my camera on the phone. And you can buy a light box. It cost me a shocking £5 off eBay. But even just taking it on a windowsill, at 90 degrees to the windowsill with a white piece of paper curled up behind it, you can get a really decent enough photo of your model and to show off to people or to stick on Instagram. I mean, and I could, if I took a photo of this now, it's kind of it's not what the model deserves. So what I've done as well, just I've blocked in that. So now I'm pretty happy that I've blocked in all my colors, and I'm going to quickly. I did the brown last because I wanted to make a quick brown glaze. That's what I've done. Taken some Malami and medium, stuck it on my plate, thinned it down, and one question I have been asked in the past about thinning your paints is it's a tricky one. It's when you feel it's right is the answer. So this is kind of moving quite nicely. It's not too thick, not too thin. It's a little bit of practice, but yeah, when you feel that the consistency is right, is generally how thin you want your paint. Because of course, you might be doing some free hands, you might be doing some detail work, but or in my case, you might be splodging the paint in the wrong place. There you go.
So, like, I'm not a good painter, but for like,
I will get you there, Ricky. I will get you.
But like, tip I would use for people in my sport, if you just want to get them painted, and I've been getting better, I think, but if you just want to get things painted, a great tool for your palette is contrast paints. They're not the be all and end all, but they're a great start.
They are, and my son, I've been getting him to paint his models because he's got Skaven and he's got Space Marines, and because his dad's got them, so of course he wants to paint them, and yeah, contrast paints. We got, he's got well over 1,000 points of salamanders painted, and big brush contrast paints. Go for it, He's got what looks like a really reasonable painted army. I mean, he's put some real effort into it. And the good thing with the contrast paints, I would say, is what you can do is apply the rule that I said earlier, in fact, which is, slap it on, neater on your next layer, neater on your next layer, neater on your next layer. He's 8. And he's done some really, really good work on some of his miniatures because
when you post that he's done them, I feel really jealous because they're better than mine.
Well, he's got a private tutor, so he's got a little bit of an advantage there. But
like, I painted 5 knobs this week for the game that we've got later on because that if I paint 5 knobs, I've got enough to field a painted army for like the first time ever. So I quickly done them for that. But it's a good start, and I will go back to them and add some more. Like I just put like main colors on. But like when I'm looking at like the lead belcher on the choppers and stuff, I can see stuff that I want to go back in and put some like brasses in and break up some of the color a bit. But yeah, I'll put up a photo of what I've done at some point, and then you can see where you can get to with just being a basic beginner with some contrast paints. And then you'll see what Miles is. Miles, who says he's a decent painter in comparison, because it'll be 100 times better.
Well, the thing is, when it comes to your models, there's only one person you really actually have to please, and that's yourself. They're your models. Everyone else's opinion is fine and dandy, but if you're happy with them, then perfect. And the thing is, if you feel that you can always do better, well, it's a very, very simple system to gauge it by. The last model you painted, stick it out in front of you and paint the one that you're currently painting a little bit better. Doesn't have to be, mind blowing. You don't have to win Golden Demon. You just do that one, 2 shades or more, a little bit more detail. So, right, there we go. So we're not fully finished, but we're very, very close to, and I'll go in and neaten up. I'm back on there. But we've given the base some depth just by slapping a wash on. Bit of a lazy trick, but hey, it doesn't matter. It's when it's dried, it should look nice. And then of course I realised I missed a bit. Oh, and that is the other rule of painting. It doesn't matter how much effort you put in, you will always somehow miss one bit.
I've seen a couple of steel toe caps that aren't steel on these boys that I painted last summer.
Yeah. Well, hopefully when the world slightly reverts back to normalcy and we're allowed to actually talk to human beings in the flesh again, you and I hopefully should be able to get a game.
Yeah, we got to do a reverse of our last game.
I can't even remember our last game.
Our last game was your Orcs versus my Chaos. So now we need to do the reverse.
Oh man, my Alpha Legion need to get in there. Yeah, I haven't used them in ages. Right, so almost right. Hang on, I'm just removing all the paints that I'll use that later. We can get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. So as you can see, I've kind of worked through to about down to there. So that's where we've got to. Now, what I'll do is I'll take a photo as well in the old light box to show how far I got, and then, like I say, I'll finish it this weekend.
If you can send us ping it over to me on Facebook, and I'll post it on our streams as well, so that our social medias as well, so that we can show it off to the people who are watching.
Yeah, because it's 45 minutes, I think. Are we almost out of time?
So, we are almost out of time.
Right, well, I'm going to put this last glaze on. So what I've done here is I've used the lime medium. I've taken a splodge of the dark blue. I've thinned it down. I've thinned it down quite a bit. I mean, you can see, hopefully there, how thin that is. That's just going to go in the eye lenses. And then at this stage, what I would normally do is I would grab my yellow. So going back to where we were, grab my yellow, go around, neaten up all those places I wasn't that neat at the start. Normally, things like there's a little square here on his wrist. That could probably do with a little bit of yellow. There's a splodge where I went over on the contrast here. But also talking about going neaten up, I've missed a little bit of contrast there. So I'm going to put that back in my pile of my to-do list. And so I'm going to use this grey to neaten up the base, and brown to neaten up the pouches, black for the gun, yellow for the armour. I've got a little bit of purity seals here, neaten up there, and we should have a finished painted model. And so just goes to show you can pretty much get there in about, I'd say it should probably take me about another 15 minutes or so. So an hour and 15 minutes, and you can have a painted model. Now, of course, I was doing that with 5 of them. It actually doesn't take that much longer because you've already got the paint out. So it's a shame it's this far away. Yeah, I'll take a photo of it in a second and I'll send it over to you so you can share it with everyone. But we can see how far we got.
That is brilliant. Thank you very much for your time. The streamer said you like the Bob Ross of 40k.
Oh, boom. Thank you, everyone on the stream. I will now be the Bob Ross of 40K. I am happy for that. In fact, I'm going to have to grow myself an afro. You know, big. Not that anyone can see it because the camera's pointing it there, but yeah, just imagine me. Just imagine Bob Ross. We'll just go with that. I look like Bob Ross. Oh, God, I'm wearing a plaid shirt as well. Oh, my God, I am Bob Ross.
But that is brilliant. Thank you so much for your time. Feel free to join me and Simon on a Wednesday if you've ever got the time. I think you said that's one of your gaming nights, isn't it? So
yeah, we're starting Star Wars. So yeah, but I will endeavour to try at some point, definitely.
And so you can follow Miles on MW Paint. MTH. Yeah. Why am I got it wrong then? I don't know why. Midwinter Minis, I was sending them to instead. Sorry, Miles. So MTH Painting on Instagram. So check out his stuff. You can see my Gazgal there as well. So and we will let you get on with the rest of your day now, Miles.
Cool.
Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Good luck with the rest of the con, and I'll get this photo over to you as soon as I can.
Thank you so much.
That's all right, Ricky.
And we're just going to have a message from Whams, and then we're going over to Death in Gloria for some music. So thank you very much, and that's us. So long.